Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Monday, June 20th, and Chrome LC is the greatest lacrosse team on the planet. I'm Jordy from Barstool, and with me, as always, we've got Dukes on the mic. And Dukes, just feel free to take a nice little victory lap around here. You called it right from the get-go. The Chrome, you said they weren't going to be bad. Not only are they not bad, but they start off the season 3-0 for first time in organization history. How you feeling after a big weekend of lax on the island?
Good. It's kind of like, what are they saying, Big Daddy? Tuna, fish, and lamb. Lacrosse on Long Island. It goes together like tuna, fish, and lamb.
Damn you give him all the easy ones.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad someone got the reference out there. But yeah, awesome game. Chrome looked really legit. Whipsnakes looked like, hey, I didn't really trust them going into this week. Looks like they got their shit together. Their defense obviously is formidable and still really good. So yeah, they look like championship contenders again. But seriously, I think the story of the weekend is the Chrome moving to 3-0. I know that the Waterdogs were a little banged up. It looked like a close game going through three quarters. But look, the dogs got to be a little bit hungry now. Got to be a little hungry for the dogs. 0-3, not the start that they wanted. But look, we'll get into it in a little bit, but I'm still not down on the Waterdogs. Like, I seriously am not. I think that the talent is still there. Look, you get Dylan Ward back. You had Tucci out there who wasn't even playing really that bad. Farrell did do a little bit of an edge on him, but look, I'm not out on the dogs just yet. I mean, once playoffs happen, really, you have to beat everybody. So you just get in, you hope for the best, but not out on the dogs. Still like them a lot. I will say they looked a little bit better without Sowers.
Here's the thing. Like you say, get into the playoffs, you have to beat everybody. Right now, I don't really know how they get into the, like, right now they would be my team to miss the playoffs at the moment, because you look at so you look at how obviously it's only after week 3, but the only other winless team right now is the Chaos. The Chaos, they get to add all those guys from Bandit Land back to their roster this coming weekend, and they're probably going to be a little I'll be pretty interested to see how they come in and play off the bat. They probably have to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder after. So, I mean, first off, hats off go to the Colorado Mammoth for winning the NLL championship this past weekend. So you said Dylan Ward gets, the Waterdogs will get Dylan Ward back. He's fresh off of an NLL Finals MVP. But like the only other team that hasn't gotten a win yet are the Chaos, and they get to add like half of their lineup back. Waterdogs still without a win, and they just can't close out games. They keep blowing leads. So I think that I would right now be way more down on the team that blows leads as opposed to the team that gets like everybody back.
Who won NLL Finals MVP last night?
Well, I just said Dylan Ward, but
who do the Waterdogs get back next week? NLL MVP Dylan Ward. Look, I know it's different positioning, it's a different team, but we're still talking about probably the second best goalie in the world right now. When he's on, he's the second best goalie in the world. No knock on Matt DeLuca. He's not even close to Dylan Ward. So you're telling me if Dylan Ward was in the lineup for the past 3 weeks, I would be highly, highly surprised if they were still 0-3. That's my point. Highly surprised. They're going to steal 1 or 2. Okay. So I think it's just a completely different team with him in net. It's a leader. It's a vet. It's not really a young guy who's playing really DeLuca's had no experience up until this point. Could he be a great pro down the line? For sure. He's only played 3 games really. I mean, he had a couple of games in the bubble, but that was 2 years ago. So that's where I really stand with the Waterdogs. I think the offense is good. I still think they have one of the best defenses in the league. I mean, DeLuca wouldn't save a beach ball this weekend. He had 35% save percentage. I'm not trying to shit on him. I'm actually, I try not to shit on goalies because
you have a bad history with Waterdogs goalies in particular.
Yes. Yeah. I was calling for DeLuca to play 2 years ago in the bubble instead of that other guy. But look, I'm still look, if you're with me and you don't think the Waterdogs have looked bad, plus 900 on the Barstool Sportsbook, take a look at it. And like me and you have said all year long, We didn't think the Chaos were going to come out strong. I think everyone knows how legit the Chaos could be. They're plus 850 on the Barstool Sportsbook right now. So if you listened to Slip the Picks, which comes out every single Thursday at 5 p.m. on the Crease YouTube, you would know that we said wait out on the Chaos, wait till they go down a couple of games, and take them with the value that they are at right now. So we nailed that. And we didn't nail that. They might not win it, but you know what I'm saying. The value's there now for the Chaos.
Dukes, there's nothing that makes me happier right now than just seeing you grow up before my very eyes and just throwing in that nice shameless plug for the Slip the Picks episodes on Thursday. I mean, that transition was beautiful. That was just top tier podcasting right there. So great work on that one. Yeah, make sure that you guys are watching out for our episodes coming out on Thursdays on the YouTube channel. They'll be out Friday mornings on Apple and Spotify. But yeah, that's why you're one of the best in the biz, Dukes, and you were also one of the best in the biz this weekend. You were boots on the ground in your backyard on the island as the PLL went to Hofstra, your second trip to Hofstra in the span of a month after the PLL quarterfinals. So you were there, you were there with Billy for the Saturday games, I believe. So just, how was the turnout at Hofstra for this weekend?
So look, everybody knows when it comes to lacrosse, Long Island is the king. I mean, if you think any differently, you know that you probably lost to Long Island 100 times in your life. Then we beat the shit out of you. We tell you that we beat the shit out of you. And then we do it 3 more times. I have a take that Long Island, the PLL should potentially move away from Long Island. So last year we had, the first year was like at Red Bull Arena, and it was like, I think that's actually the first time we met Jordy.
Yeah, we did.
Red Bull Arena there. I was just a small time blogger.
It was like me, you, and 5 other people.
Yeah, I was a small time blogger, blogging for about 10 people. But look, Long Island, these parents, they love watching their kids play lacrosse. These kids like playing lacrosse, but you get so swamped playing, watching. You just want to go enjoy the beach, right? So I think it's really hard. Like I think a lot of people went on Friday night, from what I understand, like a lot of people. And I think any other venue, it would be considered a lot of fans there Friday and Saturday. But when you're talking about Long Island, you're talking about the mecca of lacrosse. You're talking about Hofstra, this great environment. When I was there for day 2, there was a lot of people there. So I don't want to like downplay it. But I do want to say it was just like disappointing because you expect Long Island to be this like raucous crowd, just like rocking the building. There was a Long Island Lacrosse Fest going on in Farmingdale State. I also know that Hofstra itself had a couple tournaments going on. So I'm sure on Saturday that affected young kids coming to the games, because during the first game, it wasn't that crowded, that you could see like little kids in their jerseys running around more in the second. So that could definitely have all like the 14-year-old Long Island kids playing on their U8 teams. Yeah. Exactly. This is crazy that you keep saying this, because Long Island, for like what we think, is that like Maryland has the kids that are like 20 years old playing like you. I was like the youngest kid. I was like, this is bullshit. I'm playing as a kid with a beard.
I think it all just starts like whenever you're like 10 years old and you go to a tournament and all of a sudden like one team has a kid who's just like way bigger than everybody else. And they're like, and then just like urban myths start popping up about this kid, how, like he repeated second grade like twice. And, now he's driving like the whole, he drove himself to the game and shit like that. Like, and then that just takes on a nice little life of its own. But I'll go to my grave believing that Long Island but I would love to see birth certificates.
No,
I'm a Long Island birther when it comes to youth lax tournaments.
No, that's totally fair. I would look for any excuse in the book when I get my ass kicked by a team too.
And then especially when I don't even know when this happened, but when the flip in youth lacrosse turned to like you play for your graduating grade. So like you have like little like 3rd graders running around who are considered like 2030s.
Yeah.
So then like you realistically could have like some kid who you just hold back like a couple of years and you're like, well, he's still graduating in 2030. And it's like, technically he should be playing in the 2030s, but he's also 3 years older than everybody. I don't know when that happened, but it's so confusing. Like going to a tournament and you see like the 2032s and you're like, how fucking old are these kids? Like, just give me a number. I can't do them. Like you're forcing me to do this extenuous math right now that my brain just can't handle right now.
Yeah. I actually went to, my cousin was playing in the in like the Long Island Lax Fest, and I started seeing those numbers start popping up, like, oh, the 2030s, the 2031s, and I was like, this is too much for me. I got to get out of here. It just seemed like a fake world where it's like 2031 doesn't exist. That's just a foreign concept to me.
Never will.
But yeah, Hofstra, no, but overall, Hofstra was good. I think they should move away from Hofstra for a year and Long Island in general. From what I understand, Friday was very good crowd. Move away from Hofstra, go to somewhere where the fans want to go, where the fans are going to buy the tickets in advance. You know, maybe look at a place, maybe like Rutgers Small Field in New Jersey, somewhere where people are excited for lacrosse the PLL to come. Long Island just expects for lacrosse to come to them. If Long Island missed it, people would be pissed, be like, why didn't you come to Long Island? Why didn't you come to Long Island? Then the next year you come back to Long Island, people will show out more. They just expect it at this point. I think people just get so tired of watching lacrosse all year round. They just want to go to the beach. They just want to hang out. That's really my take on the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd imagine that somewhere down the line, the tour-based model stops and we do get like city teams again. And like if that's like, I can imagine a Long Island team with a Friday night under the lights game would just be like insane, because you'd get such a ridiculous crowd of people hanging back Friday, and then they can go to the shore, they can go to the beach Saturday morning. When you take their Saturday afternoon away from them, yeah, maybe you're probably going to lose a decent amount of people who either want to go to the beach or people who are playing in, youth tournaments. But like, you go back to like a city-based model at some point, like a Long Island team, with the amount of buzz that the PLL can generate with a Friday night game, yeah, like that would be huge. So, I can't, like, the tour base, it still seems to be the smart thing to do, just because I feel like there's like, you don't have to worry about trying to find owners and locking down venues and shit like that. But at some point, it probably has to come to an end. So I mean, maybe they just think maybe it's sooner than later, and so you might as well squeeze everything you can get out of Long Island in the process. But either way, good time. I saw you on President's Row again, sitting just rubbing elbows with PR 99. So
yeah, some Hall of Famers. I was next to, I think, Doherty and Millen.
Oh, Doc. He's a Doherty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I think that, they were a little impressed by me. I think that they saw some goalie challenges. And they thought they should give me a gold jacket.
I would actually like to see you against Mark Millen. 10 shots.
Yeah. I think that I would alpha his kid.
So, okay. So yeah, I think
who's a goalie challenge with first? Who do you think I do a goalie challenge with first? Which Millen, McCabe or Mark?
Well, there's also the kid who just finished up his freshman year. Who had that.
Look, I can't do that kid to the kid's ego. I can't stop. Just a blogger stopping 10 shots on the kid. I can't do that to him. He said, "Come on, it's just a kid. It's for the game."
Yeah, think about the kids. All right. Well, yeah.
I have one funny story from that. If somebody's out there with footage of this weekend, Jordy, at Hofstra, the fence isn't that high up at all. Like, not high at all. And they're like, "Do you want to do a t-shirt toss? Toss it up to the kids in the stands." I'm like, "Yeah." These kids rushed to the fence, and I'm tossing. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna toss it up. I can't like chuck it and like throw it as far as I can." And trust me, I could throw it really far. I was a backup quarterback in high school. I mean, I could throw the ball a country mile. If coach would have put me in the States, we would have won a state championship. Anyways, I throw it up in the air. It doesn't make it over the fence, and it just goes straight into a garbage bag or a garbage can. Some 8-year-old wearing like a Justin Garding 22 Whipsnakes jersey just looks me dead in the eye and goes, "You're a joke." I was like, "Yes, I am." And I was just making sure at that point, I was just like chucking it up to like the dad in like the corner. I was like, "Go deep," just launching them. But it was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever had in my life. I'm not gonna
lie. I mean, that's why people don't give RJ enough credit when he's tossing out all the swag. Like he's not running into situations like that. Can't be a good feeling to just get obliterated by a little 10-year-old Flid. But
you're a joke. Yep. Yes, I am.
Been hearing it my whole life, kid.
Yeah. You and my dad have a lot in common. Happy Father's Day, Pops.
All right. Well, yeah. So obviously the vibes were probably pretty high at Hofstra, and so was the scoring. Lot of big numbers getting put up this weekend. I mean, Chrome putting up 17 on the Waterdogs, Archers putting up 20 against the Cannons. A miserably slow first half between Redwoods and Chaos, but we can get to that later. But yeah, I mean, let's just start with the hottest team in the league, the Chrome, taking on the Waterdogs. This was the first time that the Chrome have ever started a season 17-0. But you know, it wasn't looking like fantastic for like, so Brendan Nickturn, Long Island guy. You know, luckily he showed out in this game. But for a while, this seemed like it was the game that was going to really cement the fact that the Sours curse is a real thing, because I agree with you. The Waterdogs were looking very good for most of this game. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Ryan Brown just realized and remembered, oh shit, I'm the best shooter of the lacrosse ball on the planet, and just started pulling from every which direction. Big, like the first big Ryan Brown game of the season. And then, you know, I thought Waterdogs, they looked like they were, I think you even tweeted at me at one point about the Sours curse. It was probably when the Waterdogs were up 14-11 with 6 minutes to go. And then for the second week in a row, the Dogs just can't hold on to a lead. You got to keep those dogs on a short leash. The moment that they start feeling themselves, shit just falls apart. Their social starts feeling themselves a little bit more. They got 2 goals in 6 seconds. They were all yapping about that, and then all of a sudden Chrome scored 2 goals in 9 seconds. Didn't see anything from them on that one. So Waterdogs just a team that right now just love to find new ways to lose.
Yeah, I actually do remember I tweeted at you, I think as soon as they got the first lead of the game, or maybe when it was like 12-11, you know, just like it was like a 1-goal lead, because I wanted to jump in front of it, because I don't want there to be a Sours curse. I want to like jinx the Sour curse in a way, because he's a great player, Mikey Powell-esque, obviously, but I'd be sitting here and lying. Like when he plays good for the Waterdogs, Kieran McCardle doesn't play well. When he's out of the lineup, Kieran McCardle plays really well. And like, am I crazy, or does the offense of the Waterdogs not look better without him? Like, it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not. And I'm not like trying to stir up shit, and I would hate to stir shit up. I'd hate to do this to get this out there in the world. But seriously, like the Waterdogs looked like a better team overall. Like Ryan Brown showed out, Kieran McCardle, and look, this is the team, this makeup right here that played this weekend, minus the fact they didn't have Dylan Ward, is the team that got the #1 seed last year without Michael Sours. So they're right there. And like I said it, I said it early in the episode. If Dylan Ward played this game, I'm so confident they would have won.
So, and like that's a good point that I can't really argue with. I think if Dylan Ward is there and he's in field mode, and like I don't think that Dylan Ward is a goalie who it's going to take him too long to adjust from playing box to playing field. Now, I will say he'll probably have a little rough go at it this week, not because it's his first week back after playing box, but because he just won a championship, and you know that those boys are going to be getting after it. So he's going to be coming off of a bit of a bender. So he probably will still be playing a little guilty this coming weekend if he's suiting up in the lineup at all. But like, I agree. If you have Dylan Ward in net, then there's a chance that you have the lead and you can feel a little bit more confident with that lead, instead of like, because like at this point, the Waterdogs, every time they have a lead late in the game, as much as they'll probably try to tell you that they're not thinking about this, they're probably thinking, fuck, like I really hope we hold on to this one. And like the moment that any bit of that doubt creeps into your mind, there are only 8 teams in this league. Every team is loaded with talent. Any team can beat the brakes off of you the moment you start doubting yourself. And that's now proven itself 2 weeks in a row. And I mean, the Chrome, when they've got guys like Brendan Nickturn turning it on, I mean, I don't think that Connor Farrell necessarily had like the greatest game of his life, but he was able to keep providing the ball to the Chrome. Also chipped in on the scoreboard as well, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Milkman got himself on the board. So yeah, I mean, like Chrome have a ton of talent offensively. You start doubting yourself, they'll beat you. Whipsnakes, ton of talent offensively. You start doubting yourselves, they'll beat you. Don't even have to talk about the Atlas or the Archers. So yeah, I think, do the Waterdogs have all the talent that they need? Sure. But like, you can't keep losing games in this fashion and then expect me to be like, oh, well, they'll figure it out.
Again, I'm not going to point fingers here. Don't know too many teams out there in the PLL that would win a lot of games with a 42% save percentage through 3 games. I don't know that many teams out there.
I guess I'd have to look at more of the numbers, but yeah, maybe not. But it's, I don't know though. It's just like some of the, I don't know how many other goalies out there would have like a much better showing against the Chrome and the Whipsnakes. Like, I don't think DeLuca played well, but I also think
he played fine. He played fine against the Whipsnakes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but like the game 1 and game 3, it's just like at some point it's like how like game 1, okay. Like,
but I think it's more of a defense. I think it's a defense issue though too. Like
potentially, but again, the way that I look at Liam Burns, like I think Liam Burns is one of the best defenders in the league. I think he was probably the best defender in the league last year. I think the defense is one of their strengths last year. Again, that's why I'm saying with Ward coming back, it's the veteran presence, it's the voice, it's their goalie, it's their leader of the defense. Ward could probably clean things up with the defense and the slide packages and all of those things that go with it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the defense right now, but sure, it potentially could be. It could be.
All right. I think my biggest thing here, I'm not saying that they're not going to win a game all summer, like they will, but my thing is like, I know for a fact that they're not a contender. So they'll win a couple games, but in no world am I closing my eyes, picturing the final seconds of the PLL season. And is there any purple involved in there?
I won't even say that yet.
All right. Well, I guess
because I also I'm gonna like I still think, especially with the way last year just goes, like the season's gonna get longer. Some teams are gonna get banged up. And you don't know which teams are gonna get banged up. The Waterdogs get even more banged up, and then I'd be like, okay, yeah, they're not gonna even make the playoffs or something. But this could also go the other way where I'm like, they're gonna make the championship series. They're gonna be a top 4 team in the league. I'll still stick by mine. I'm still sticking by my team.
I'm out. I'm as out as I possibly can. Tell you what though, one all right. So the Whipsnakes, that's a team where if I close my eyes and I'm picturing the PLL championship, they're clearly in the picture because they've been in the picture for 3 straight years. And you know, all this time throughout the first couple weeks of the season, everyone's talking about the Atlas. It's the Atlas year. This team is loaded. They can't be stopped. It's an absolute wagon, an unstoppable force. And all of a sudden, here come the Whipsnakes, just to remind everybody that daddy's home and this is still their league and that they've never lost to the Atlas so far in the history of the league, which is crazy to think of. Like when I heard that pregame speech from Tucker Durkin talking about how they've never beat the Whipsnakes before, I was like, there's no way that that's possible. Turns out it is, and turns out it still is, because the Whipsnakes just, again, like this is a championship pedigree performance out of the Whipsnakes. Big game out of Matt Rambo, getting a couple goals on the board. Again, just one of those things, reminding everybody that the league still belongs to him. I thought that, credit to both goalies, just an insane goalie performance out of Kincannon and Bernlohr. Kincannon early on, I would say Kincannon probably had like the best half that any goalie has had of a single game in the league so far. Like that first half performance out of him was insane. Bernlohr also insane. So, 31 saves between the two of them. Kincannon was 17, Bernlohr with 14. Huge game out of Justin Gutterding, Garden City's second finest.
You can say that one more time.
Yeah. Probably should have seen that one coming. that the Long Island guy was really going to come alive on this one.
Yeah.
So huge performance out of him. He had a goal and 3 assists, and like all the assists were just money. So big game out of Gutty, big game out of Rambo, and then they also get to add Zed Williams to the mix this week, and he will be fresh off of an NLL championship with the Mammoth. So how do you feel about the Whipsnakes, and how do you feel about the Atlas after that 12-9 win for the Whips?
2 quick takes. We should have seen the Gutty and Kincannon performance coming. The amount of games that I've seen Gutty just light up that field, it was very stupid of me. And looking in retrospect, this game was an easy read. It's easier said than done, but credit to me for admitting I was wrong. Then Kincannon, I mean, he's the Hofstra guy. He's played many games there. He wants to go show out for, he's from Long Island, wants to show up for the Long Island.
Knows the exact angles of the lights.
Knows everything. Yeah. Lights, no lights, doesn't matter. That guy's got to make a save. And when he's on, he's phenomenal to watch. But yeah, the Atlas showed their youth. The Whipsnakes showed their veteran presence. The Whips, like you were saying, everyone's talking about the Atlas being the most talented team, and I'll still stick by that. But this was the first defense all year where they were like, yeah, like we are fucking here. And if you're going to want to win this championship, you're going to still have to go by us. Chris Gray obviously showed up, but like we got to talk about Jeff Teat kind of going missing a little bit in this game. So
just a lot of just empty possessions for the Atlas. Just getting forced to run themselves into trouble a little bit, then a CTO. I mean, this was an unbelievable defensive performance out of the Whips. And then another thing, so as great as Kincannon was, the 2-bomb did hurt them in this game. It seemed like every time the Atlas were about to potentially start to get themselves going on a bit of a comeback to make that a game, it seemed like a 2-bomb from the Whips was like right around the corner just to set them right back. So, I mean, they're chipping away a little bit. They're starting to piece together a couple possessions, get a goal. Earhart 2-bomb, chipping away, putting together some possessions. Chanachuk 2-bomb, Curse with the 2-bomb. So three 2-pointers for the Whips in this one, and each of them seemed to be at a crucial time when the Atlas were like just maybe getting a bit of confidence.
Well, we anybody that's listened to the Crease now for an extended period of time knows that at least I always, whenever I'm grading Kincannon, inside, he's probably the best goalie in the world. And what does he struggle at outside shots? So if you're like for the scouting report, you might say like you have 2-point shooters, let it sling from outside. So like, yeah, like if he's going against like Jay Carlson or something, right here, Jay Carlson, zero goals, 2 assists, one of the best inside guys in the league, right? But then you're looking at like Earhart, who's one of the best, obviously deep threats with the LSM position. So yeah. I think that's a great point. I mean, if you're just counting those as ones, what's the score? 9-9, or maybe you take like 9-7 or 9-8 because of the Kobe Smith 2-bomb. So you're looking at a completely different game. Even if you take back like 1 or 2 of those. So that's a very, very good point.
But yeah, so I mean, the first time that the Chrome have ever started a season 3-0, and every season so far, the Whipsnakes have started 3-0. So I mean, just an absolute wagon. That's a franchise right there. That's an organization. That's a program.
If I was a coach or a general manager, actually, I'll put my name in the ring. I want to be an owner of the PLL team. I'll take those guys. I'll take those guys.
Yeah. Check, please. And I mean, the Atlas are going to be fine, but they just better hope and better pray to whatever God or higher power they believe in, that they don't come across the Whipsnakes in the playoffs, because that'll put an end to their season real quick. The Atlas, so? Yeah, I mean, like verbal meme here, like the 2 dogs, the one dog that's jacked, and then like the little the horny bonk dog.
Yeah.
So like the jack dog is the Atlas versus like the 6 other teams in the league, and then the little bonk horny dog is the Atlas versus the Whipsnakes. Like they just, if they go up against the Whips in the playoffs, I guess good news for the New York Riptide. Like Jeff Teat will be nice and rested.
It's got like, it would be very funny for like, I don't know, like the chaos to get like the 7 seed like the 7th seed, but like, you know, everyone knows they're really good, just the way it all falls out. Like they just end up getting like the 7th seed in the playoffs. Then you got to play like the Whipsnakes or like the Atlas week, like with the 1 seed, something like that. Like, could you not see that happening?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that'll probably be the Cannons. So, which you would be right about. So, I
We
don't
can
know.
go into it.
I mean, basically, all right. So, Cannons, yeah, let's just go right into it because I don't think that the Cannons are still the worst team in the league right now because I'm still hell bent on that being the Waterdogs. But Dukes, another hashtag Dukes was right. Another feather in your cap. The Cannons get absolutely curb stomped. They got their butt, their balls, their backs just waxed by the Archers offense. This was just a full-blown beatdown. Archers 20, Cannons 9, Cannons with Lyle Thompson in the lineup, Archers without Grant Ament in the lineup. And it was just whatever the Archers wanted to do offensively, they were getting it done. So again, like the Cannons right now are probably thinking to themselves that they're going to be a nice early exit from the playoffs. Luckily, they'll get into the playoffs because the Waterdogs are going to keep choking away leads, and they're going to fall to that 8 spot, and they're not going to make it. But the Cannons right now, you were right. They're bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we're looking at like who the worst team in the league is, you know, you could go a lot of different ways with this. You hate the Waterdogs. I don't even hate the Cannons, but you're making me hate the Cannons, which is ridiculous because you're forcing my hand. I don't even hate the Cannons. But you know, the Waterdogs can improve. They're getting one of their best players back when the Cannons are playing with their full strength roster right now. So let's look at the Cannon schedule for the next couple of weeks. Chrome, Chaos, Archers, Waterdogs. So you're looking at what? You got to go 1 for 2 there if you're the Cannons to be 2-4.
Chrome, Archers.
Chrome, Chaos, Archers.
Chrome, Chaos, Archers, and then Waterdogs. Yeah, so I mean, you pick up 1 win in those games, and then you have the rubber mat, like the big swing against the Waterdogs to close that out.
Yeah, and then they play like the Redwoods, Whipsnakes, but that's later on in the season.
There could always be a little letdown game for the Chrome. Like they've
1,000%.
They've never been in this position where they've been undefeated this late into the summer. So you pick up a win against the Chrome, and now all of a sudden, you know, maybe all right. So maybe the Waterdogs have a win at some point in there too, and now you're both going into this game, and yeah, I mean you have to beat the Water. Yeah,
1,000%. And we'll also talk like we've done this league, what, three years now? We've been following this league 4 years now, or whatever it is. We know like you think you know how it's going to go down in this league. And then once you think you got a little taste, you think you're a little big brain guy, all of a sudden the Chrome were in last place.
Yeah.
So you can't really call predictions.
The moment you think you know anything, you don't know shit, even though we both know everything. So
yeah, I mean, even last year, just to pat my back one more time for the listeners that call me stupid, when I said that the Atlas would be really good last year, and they were, I wouldn't say that they were good until the last week of the season because I was so superstitious that they were going to somehow finish in last place. So this league's very competitive. But was this not your classic Archers game where, you know, they do this all the time, where this is where Joe Keegs and like the advanced metrics and like the adjusted offensive efficiency and adjusted defensive efficiency, this is why the Archers are right there with like a 1-1, because they just have these games where they just look like the best team in the world. Like Will Manny, if you're talking about MVP, he really is playing at an MVP level right now. And I really cannot believe it, but he looks like he's just shooting the lights out of the ball.
He looks so good.
This is his best year in the PLL by far.
Dude, I mean, so he goes 5 for 6 shooting on Saturday afternoon. Matt Moore goes 3 for 3, which is insane.
Yep.
Just fresh out
and
of college.
He was running out of the box a lot.
Yeah, running out of the box. Get that short stick, throws the shoulder down. Didn't even know he was that tough of a Dodger. Throws the shoulder down, steps away, back of the net, turning a rake. Let's go take a face off. Yeah, but so I mean, between the two of them, so what is that? 8 for 9 shooting between those two guys. It's a pretty It's a pretty solid recipe for success.
I'd say so. And also, I really like what I saw out of Ryan Ogden, Brown State guy. Had a little two bomb, but I thought he had a lot of nice takes. A lot of nice takes. I think he's just a strong, athletic bull that could be a staple in this league as one of those guys that's around in like 8 to 9 years. And you're like, oh yeah, he's really good. I saw some comparisons of him to Max Siebold. I won't go there right now because Max Siebold's kind of like too nostalgic for me. But I mean, I think that he is a great fit for this Archers offense. And I think that we're going to see him on the roster a lot this year.
All right. Love that. But yeah, again, it's one of those things where it was an incredible performance out of the Archers, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not going to get myself excited over anything that the Archers do in the regular season because they're at the point now where it's like, do it in the playoffs or else none of it matters. But with that being said, still a great showing. And then, I mean, the league definitely got their money's worth, out of having that game on ABC and just loading up the scoreboard.
And the one thing that I've noticed was it just me? Steven Rafis was dicing people up on the Hofstra turf. Like, yeah, I know, like I've always known he was a really good player, said he was going to be a staple of the offense this year. But I mean, he was snatching people's ankles and it was impeccable to watch in person. So shout out to Steven Rafis. And then Stephen Kelly kind of had a revenge game, but it was against the backup Archers faceoff guy. So I don't know. Bubba Fairman, I was very impressed with. That's one thing that I think is a big takeaway for the Cannons. He looked really good, like really good.
Yeah.
D'd up. I forget who he D'd up. I'm gonna look really quick at the Archers roster. Bad radio. It was like he D'd up Marcus Holman, I want to say. But
he was the best teammate in college lacrosse.
Yeah, but the thing is, like everybody doubts him because like
I don't know if everybody doubts him. I think
everybody doubted him. Everyone doubted him. He wasn't Lyle Thompson, so everybody doubted him.
Yeah,
he wasn't Chris Gray, so everybody doubted him. It's like, what are we doing? Like, just because you're the number one recruit in the country going to high school and you're not being the best D midi and you're supposed to be an attackman, like, okay, now you suck.
Again, I don't. I mean, there are only 8 teams in the league, so I get everyone's going to be loaded. So but the more that we're talking about them right now, I'm talking myself back into the Cannons actually being all right, like back to that 5 spot. But I don't know. Again, they're a third tier, so like top tier. I mean, I guess you have to put I'd probably say Chrome, Whips, and Atlas up there in the top tier. Second tier would be what? Like I'd still have like Chaos and Archers in there. Like they're still like a third tier team, but
so I'd put if we're going kind of groups of 3, 2, 2, I'd go Whips. With the Chaos of full strength, I'll go Whips, Atlas, Chaos. I'd put the Chrome and the Archers together, and I'm losing count of teams.
Yeah,
I'm losing count of yeah.
Whips, Chaos, Archers. No, Whips, Chaos, Atlas.
Yep.
Top tier. Chrome and Archers.
Yeah.
Down
and
there.
Then Cannons, Redwoods, Waterdogs.
Cannons, Redwoods, Waterdogs. See, I feel like Cannons live in that middle ground between. They're 2.5 tier for me.
Don't do this. They're
2.5 tier for me.
They stink.
I know, but again, the more that we talk about them, the more that we talk about guys like Steven Rafis who are overlooked in the league a little. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're good. They can. But the
Waterdogs are good. Like they're proven to be good. Like this Cannons team was the 7 seed last year. Lost their best midfielder in Paul Rabel. I don't know. I don't want to I like the Cannons 6-on-6 offense. So if they made the playoffs, I'm not going to be surprised. Lyle's Lyle. I love Drenner's game. It's gonna. I don't know. All
right. So here's what I'll say. They're not in that second tier, but I'm putting them at the top of the third tier.
You can do that. You can
Okay.
look, you can, we've been wrong in this podcast a lot, so you can be wrong about that take.
Motherfucker.
Are we calling them the Deadwoods?
Well, if we're calling them the Deadwoods, then we've got another verbal meme here of the Undertaker gif where he comes up out of the out of the coffin, because the Redwoods coming alive, getting their first win of the season. They are defeated no more. And it all came down to a big time third quarter in this one. Anyone who subjected themselves to watching the first half of this Redwoods and Chaos game, I believe that you should be financially compensated for your time. It was a 3-2 game going into halftime. Another scoreless quarter for the Redwoods after, they scored 3 goals all of last week. They come out, they put up 2 in the first quarter. Starts off with a nice Rob Pennell ride back goal. I think that this was a big Rob Pennell, like gut check, grab your nuts type of game. Which I'd imagine there's probably, I'm very curious how Team USA tryouts went over this past week, because the way that Rob Pennell started to play, like, seemed like he was like a little pissed off. So I don't know. I don't know how USA tryouts went. I don't know if there were a few other attackmen who might be above him in the depth chart right now. But Pennell coming out big, and that third quarter, Redwoods offense just started eating the way that we knew, or at least we thought that they would all season long. Getting a lot of different guys involved. Pennell again, Garnsey doing some classic Ryder Garnsey stuff where he's just like so wildly and drastically unpredictable in the way that he moves that it just works. Miles with the 2 bombs. So Redwoods offense got themselves going in that quarter, and that was the difference maker. Other than that, though, wasn't really blown away by them.
No, but I do have a take about the Redwoods and who the offense should move through. And it's, I don't know how you're going to get him at X. I don't know if you want to put him at the attack. I don't know if you want to have him through the box. I personally want him through the box, inverted with a shorty or even a pole. I don't like Jules Henningsberg. The offense, when it flows through him, is so much better. He has the best footwork. He can dice people off the best on the offense. I think that Rob Pennell, if he transition, I don't think that Rob is as quick as he used to be, and I don't think it's a hot take. I think if you're looking at an ex-attackman right now that can beat his guy, initiate the offense, get the defense to move, it's Jules Henningsberg. I think that Rob actually off ball looked really great this weekend. Ryder did Ryder things. I mean, Cav's always going to be a Cav. So I think you really have to look at Jules being the quarterback of the offense. Even week 1 when he diced up they lost, but like he was dicing up the Atlas defense. So I think the key moving forward is using Jules as the feeder, the initiator, and somebody that can get this offense going. That was just a highlight that I had. And then, they looked pissed off and fired up. It's clear. But in classic Dukes fashion, I don't know if you saw the video on Slip the Picks. I gave out the Redwoods, and former coworker who works for the PLL now, Joshua DM, came up to me like, "Hey, can you do a quick video about your picks today for the PLL bets page?" I was like, "Of course." He's like, "Just talk about like the Redwoods chaos," and I just completely blanked, and I was put so on the spot that the only thing in my head was Deadwoods. And I was like, that'll be a good social clip. So just like chaos by a billion, Deadwoods. And I was just like, immediately just like,
well, so I mean, you covered all your bases, and then that way you could never be wrong, because you had to be right at some point.
Yeah. Is that not like, I was just like, this is so classic. Like just me, like I didn't put out any promos for Slip the Picks last week. The only promo I had is just screaming Deadwoods. So
I mean, but like, again, they had a big third quarter. They still didn't have like a crazy good game in cage. I mean, Troutner looked great, and he made all the stops that he had to. I don't think that he saw a ton of volume. And that's obviously to do with the fact that Chaos still not even close to their full roster. I mean, TD had a pretty solid. We went over 50% at the face-off stripe, and going up against TK is, a big battle for him. But like, there's I don't know. It's a good win for the Redwoods, and like, I think that that confidence that they get of not having to worry about being winless anymore. Like that's like a monkey off their back and now they can kind of just play. But I don't know. I'm still not crazy about them, but I don't know. Winning solves a lot of issues in all of sports. So maybe this just kind of gets the ball rolling for them a little bit. But I would have liked to see them kind of step on the Chaos throat a little bit more in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, for sure. I think Rodder even said that toward like in a huddle of a clip I saw, just like being like, "Well, we haven't done shit yet. Finish them." And I mean, if you're a Redwoods fan, if you're a Redwoods player, you just got to be happy with the effort that they gave most of all. You know what I mean? Just the fact that they had that like fire and that competitive, seeing Rob Pennell in like what, year 10 now, year 9, year 11, whatever it is, just still having that fire and emotion after the first goal was cool to see. So will the Redwoods be possibly the contender that they have been in the past? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not ready to say that just yet, but seeing them have that competitive spirit again, seeing like the unity of the team has got to give you some hope and some great feelings. I mean, I Notre Dame guy. I always root for the Redwoods a little bit. I have a soft spot for them. So yeah, I was pleased to see what happened this weekend. And Blaze is Blaze. I mean, he really is. He's really something else. It wasn't like that loss wasn't on him. I mean, the offense just wasn't getting the shots that they needed. I mean, I think the Redwoods, it felt like had like triple the amount of shots as them. So
yeah, I mean, shit just started to fall apart. Like it was all going well. Like the field was just tilted for the Redwoods in that third quarter. You take away that third quarter, and that's, I mean, that game goes either way. It's a coin flip. Field was just a little tilted in that third quarter. You know, Blaze didn't get quite the amount of stops that he needed to in that quarter. I think, maybe Chaos defense just trying to do a little bit too much, and then just not being able to get the shot. So like, again, it's that one quarter where shit just went a little haywire, and great for the Redwoods because they get the win out of it. They get to feel good. They finally get to celebrate something this year, and tough for the Chaos, but you still get to add Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Chase Frazier, Toga to this lineup next week. And they're coming off of a tough loss in the NLL championship. So they'll probably be coming in playing a little pissed off. Oh, and Ian McKay. Can't forget about Ian.
But you also have to look at it like to some extent, are some of these Bandits guys going to be banged up? Like that's a long season. In my first box game, like that was my first game I watched quarter 1 to the end of the fourth quarter. Is there any rules? There's just no rules. There's no defense. It's just people just getting freaking laid out.
Oh, it's just moving pick galore. Like you're just at any point you can just get fucked up, and they're like, and then if any Americans like that's a moving pick, like you'll just get flooded with Canadians in your on Twitter mentions being like, you don't know fucking lacrosse, pussy.
I can't wait for this. I can't wait to go into box Twitter and just get chirped by a bunch of Canadians and just start screaming the national anthem in their face. But so if I'm the Woods too, I mean, we've talked about it. Like, I still think they need some finishers, and I just want to put my guy Will Perry's name out there. I think that he'd be a great addition to that Redwoods offense. He doesn't need the ball on his stick. He's an impeccable shooter when he's not facing me. And like a guy like him, like it's crazy. Like Randy Stotts, like still is like in the player pool. So I think there's some pieces.
What's the deal with Jake Caraway? I feel like he's
that's the other. Thank you for bringing that up. So one more week, and he's in the player pool. I think a lot of teams are going to be interested in him, and I think that he would be a perfect fit on that offense.
I think that he probably plays for the Atlas next week.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
I think you don't put him in. Like, it's one of those things where, all right, so the Atlas, like their first couple weeks, they were on fire. And like, how do you look at that roster and you think to yourself as a head coach that you need to make any changes? So it's like, we were lights out, didn't need to have Caraway on the roster. Like, I'm not going to make any changes to this one. Sorry, Jake, like you're not in again.
I don't think it's a talent thing. I don't think it's like, oh, you're like, we don't think you're a good player. You're going to the player pool. Like he was very good, like one of the best rookies last year. I think that it might be one of those things where he doesn't like he wants to play attack, doesn't want to run out of the box. They're all set basically. They're all set basically at attack right now, right? Or who would you like? I don't think that they're going to switch anything up. I think you still got to go E-Law.
Yeah.
So look, Rubior is his high school coach, and I bet you they have a very strong relationship. So maybe Rubior is like, look, we're not going to address you. Like we all obviously think you're good, but like if you want to go try to see if another team wants you at like attack, like go out in the player pool and see if someone wants you. If it was just a talent thing, then yeah, he'll put him on like either as a midfielder or like put him on like the restricted roster. But my gut is saying that Rubior and him have had a conversation where they're just saying, look, like if you want to go, like we think you're going to be better as a midfielder, but if you want to go play attack, and so see someone else wants you. And if that's the case, if I'm the Redwoods, I'm going to dress him at attack. I'm going to dress him at attack, and I'm going to move someone else out of the box and do like big little with them. I think that Caraway has a way brighter future, and I think that he's someone that you're going to want on your team for the next couple of years. He doesn't need necessarily the ball in his stick. He's an elite shooter. He's someone that could,
especially whilst tucked.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up. I think that he'd be able to shoot a couple goals on me in a goalie challenge. So it's somebody that you want to.
I would say let's put him to the
untouched,
test, but because no,
untucked or tucked.
Well, here's the thing though. I don't want you to do a goalie challenge with him. I want Jake Caraway to end up on a roster, and unfortunately, right now you have a bit of a history of being bad juju for guys trying to make a roster. So I think right now it's the last thing that Jake Caraway needs is to get stuffed by you off stick hit a couple times, and then all of a sudden Redwoods are like, you know what, we actually don't need you.
It's ridiculous. We need to get Will on a roster. It's ridiculous. I ruined the guy's career. Do you know how guilty I feel ruining a guy's career?
Just walking around with that on your conscience, just all day, every day.
Sorry, I have impeccable goalie positioning.
All right. Well, I mean, maybe the Waterdogs could, again, they could have had you. They refused to, and now DeLuca's putting up worse numbers.
Laughed in my face. Made a mockery of me on Twitter.com. Look who's laughing now. Look who's here battling for your Waterdogs week in, week out on the Crease Dive podcast. And you laugh in my face and call me a joke on Twitter.
You're same as that little 8-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. And verbal meme, Andy Copeland, 8-year-old from Hofstra, calling me a joke. Handshake emoji.
All right. Well, that was week 3 of the PLL season. The boys are heading down to Baltimore this coming weekend. So make sure that you are on the lookout for the Slip the Picks episode with myself, Dukes, and Billy Football. That'll be on our YouTube channel on Thursday. So make sure that you guys are subscribing to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell, your mailman or, whoever's coming around giving you a ticket in your car. Just tell everybody, subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you are following us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at the Crease Dive on both. Again, congrats to the Mammoth on their NLL championship. And that'll do it for this time. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high until the day we die. We out.